And welcome back to another episode of Underdog Podcast. Seemed kind of a ominous, eventful day yesterday. Uh, to see there was the bridge, which I don't know if it was a pedestrian bridge or was it for vehicles as well. Either way, fucking collapsed over in DC. A building collapsed. Was it a 12-story, 15-story condo collapsed in Miami, and I think they said one person was found dead, 30 something, 35 people found alive. I'm sitting there thinking, how the fuck does a building collapse? Like, sinkholes, something like that. Those things happen in Florida, but yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I was like, okay, this is a little odd. And then, as you see in today's title of the show, you got this: John McAfee is dead. I was like, wow, okay. Because my first thought was, this motherfucker's in prison. He's dead? But, as far as Epstein goes, it doesn't matter. You can die. You can commit suicide in prison. Ghislaine Maxwell going to be next, right? To commit suicide in prison. Now, of course, my suspicious side popped up like, wait. I'm sorry. I think we heard this story before. Something doesn't add up. And I was trying to figure out different articles, and some of the majority of articles is already talking shit about him, saying, "Oh, eclectic or tax evasion and all this other stuff," and they weren't trying to really speak on what the man actually fucking did. You talking about antivirus software? Like, I know McAfee software is. I used McAfee before on my computer, growing up and stuff, because I would be the one to download the virus, the antivirus programs on a computer in the house. And you either had McAfee antivirus or you had Norton security. Like, that's it. That's it. I mean, for the most part, that was it. So I mean, this is it's just not a nobody, right? It's someone with huge contribution. So-called at least a huge contribution. If anything, has a effect on the digital world. But yeah, they act like he's some crazy lunatic. And my thing is, once they label somebody crazy, they try to dismiss them, right? That no, we already been down this road too many times before. We know if someone say, "Hey, I got shit on the government," next thing all of a sudden they're, "Oh, don't worry, don't listen to this person. They're crazy," or we're trying to get this person on tax evasion. Yeah, man, the tax evasion is like RICO, like they did that shit for mobsters. So I think they did it for Al Capone. It's just a bullshit ass law just to get people to bring them in because you can't figure out how else to get them. But what you can't get them on is tax evasion. I mean, there's tax evasion, but there's no actual real law that says you gotta pay taxes. And people still seem confused by that. But look it up. Bet you won't find a clear and direct law, and don't say what's in the I forget what amendment it is in the Constitution, but no, it's not talking about the same thing. That's more, I believe, corporate tax, corporations, not a direct tax on your income, your personal income. So the headline, this is from the Sun, was the Sun out of UK, right? Yeah, .co.uk. Says John McAfee dead, antivirus software creator, quote, dies by suicide, end quote, as Twitter posts spark speculation on cause of death. Well, no shit. High profile person, yes, I don't care if he's in a Spanish jail, still, he's a high profile person, and all of a sudden, he commits suicide. Right? Let's click on this video. Let's see what he has to say. Don't play that. Don't play an ad. Don't play an ad.
Hey there, homeowner. Did you know you can get a free air conditioner when you switch to solar energy for $0? That's right. It's totally $0.
Turn that off for y'all. All right. Fucking ad.
Power corrupt. Well, let's take a look at the human species. Humans are compassionate and loving.
He has sunglasses on.
Kind, generous people. We are simultaneously greedy, jealous, envious, angry. We're a mixed bag. And if you give one of the human species power, which part of ourselves uses it? Love? Love
Had to
does
laugh at
not
that.
need power, people. It flowers from the heart. Grace? Grace certainly needs no power. Compassion, generosity. No, these are simply things that flow from our good nature. What uses power? Well, greed certainly needs power, doesn't it? If you have enough power, you can take any fucking thing you want. Anger. Oh, anger definitely would love some power, would it not? Envy? Well, with power, whatever you're envious of, you can duplicate on your own. No, it is that negative, unsocial, not life supporting part of the human animal that needs power. Nothing else needs power. And so
Letting you
we
know.
give people power over others through government, through military, and we expect them not to be corrupt.
Yeah, exactly.
Wake up, people.
Exactly.
Be very cautious who you give power to. Thank you.
Now, I wanted to play that because does that sound like a man that's crazy? Sounds like a man that's wise. Sounds like he has some wisdom based on his age. He has experience, 75 years old. Sounds like someone that understands how the world really works. How power will always corrupt. Because what feeds into power in the personal or in the basic human experience and the human needs and the human emotions. But this is a crazy man. This is someone that's supposed to sit in the jail cell and kill himself, even though he tweeted out, "Hey, I'm fine. I have friends here. I'm good." But we'll kind of get that into that in the article. So it says antivirus pioneer John McAfee has reportedly killed himself after he was set to be extradited to the United States. No, people, you can't make this shit up. You're telling me he got approved for extradition to the United States. And after that, he got approved. He decided to kill himself. And you might say, oh, well, he was waiting. He wanted to kill himself because he knew he didn't want to go rot in the jail cell for so long. He was old, blah, blah. Come on, man, you buy that? The same man that has information. I don't know if it's on here or not, but he tweeted out a couple years back, if I ever do die, I have 31 terabytes of data, of information on the government and corruption around the world. Governments and corruption around the world. Sounds like someone with a dead man switch, right? If I die, this is what happens. And seems to be kind of played down by the media. Which lets me believe that, hey, there's more to this that you don't want me to dig into because the majority of the article is saying that he's crazy and all that other stuff. And I didn't even find this. I think Natalie Denise, she had it on her podcast. And I just try to look up any article and stuff, even before I listen to her podcast or her video clip on YouTube. And she had this up. I was like, oh, this seems to be the only article that really started to dig into it. I was like, wow, everyone else is fucking scared to touch this, which is a key indicator for me to let me know that, okay, there's more to the story. Someone's not fucking telling the truth. This guy has some information that was damning to those in positions of so-called power. And he's letting you know. The 75-year-old tech mogul took his own life in a prison in Barcelona, according to the local paper El Pas? It's Spanish, right? Oh man, I'm being horrible right now. McAfee was arrested on October 3rd of last year at El Prat airport in Spain as he was about to flee the country to Turkey. That same month, McAfee was charged in Tennessee with evading taxes after failing to report income made from promoting cryptocurrencies while he did consulting work. Huh. Interesting, right? Interesting that cryptocurrencies is involved in this, and he had tons of information. I also see somewhere on the internet that apparently a bunch of Ethereum addresses went online that hasn't been online for a long time and started doing different transactions. Hmm. Interesting, right? Just saying. Now you could say, oh, maybe he was just trying to get attention. Maybe he was just eclectic, eccentric type of person. He's just out there. But like that video just explained, or like he just said in the video, does that sound like a person that's that far out there? I don't give a fuck how many fucking drugs he was doing and stuff or wherever he was doing. You don't know. People can do drugs and be in control of themselves. Psychedelics, right? Psychedelic drugs. DMT, ayahuasca. Did I say that right? Mushrooms. Trying to tap into higher forms of consciousness, understanding the universe around you. It all sounds crazy, yet it's nothing but ancient knowledge that they still go by. What do you think all those occults in Hollywood and stuff like that? People go off of Jewish calendars and all these other different things like numerology. It sounds weird, but it's not, right? The majority of human history, it revolves around this stuff. And it still kind of does, just by more or less behind the scenes. So this just kind of goes down like all of this is just latest news updates and stuff in this article. So it says suspected of being on a yacht with the high caliber weapons, and that will happen in 2019. It says McAfee tweets about not responding to a single lawsuit for 11 years. A Florida court ordered McAfee in 2019 to pay $25 million to Fall estate in a wrongful death claim. However, he refused to pay it, writing on Twitter that he's not responded to a single one of my 37 lawsuits for the past 11 years. McAfee claimed to have no assets, writing that the order was a moot point, an apparent misspelling of moot, M-O-O-T, M-U-T-E. So, yeah, this article just has a bunch of updates and stuff. Let's see. And something that happened to him in Belize. It says Gregory Faull, F-A-U-L-L, was shot to death in early November 2012 on the island in Belize where both men lived. So that was his neighbor. Faull was a wealthy American who was found in his home with a single gunshot to the head and bearing signs of having been tortured with a taser. He was reported to have been in an early dispute with McAfee about noise made by McAfee's dog, and to have told another neighbor he was going to take matters into his own hands. 4 of McAfee's dogs were subsequently poisoned. McAfee then fled to Guatemala after being questioned by police and was later deported back to the United States. He later claimed he had been forced to flee because Belize authorities were trying to kill him, but Belizean cops denied that, saying they were simply investigating a crime about McAfee, which McAfee may have had information. So that's issues in 2012, right? And we kind of see this story play out before. Someone that, maybe knows a little too much information or some of that, they either try to take in under arrest or are told that they're crazy or eventually end up, suiciding themselves. And the fact that we all even understand the term or the phrase being spoken out of context, because the term itself doesn't even mean anything anymore. When we say someone was killed by suicide, like this is a complete oxymoron of a statement, right? You can't be killed by suicide. Suicide is you killing yourself. Yet we know that's what happens. People get killed by suicide. I can't think of the actor's name right now. Cappy. There you go, Cappy. He came out and said, if they say I killed myself, I didn't kill myself. I'm not trying to kill myself. I'm fine. And next thing you know, he so-called killed himself, jumped off a bridge. I mean, how many times can they say this shit? Like, we're not stupid, bro. Stop trying to treat us like we're some... Actually, you can't even say treat us like children. Because you can't tell this story to kids without kids being like, that doesn't make sense. Right? I couldn't tell this shit to my children without them being like, how'd he kill himself if he's in prison? Now, is it possible to do? Yes. But let's be honest, this is a high profile person. He's supposed to be extradited to the United States. So you would think, if anything, hey, he's not killing himself on my watch. We're not dealing with this fucking paperwork, right? That's because as as an employee, say you work in a prison. Now, even if you're lackadaisical and you're not worried about how the inmates are, or wherever the case may be, and you're in your own world, you're doing whatever the case. I seen somebody wrote a comment like that on Twitter. And like, oh, I worked in the prison as deputy sheriff and stuff, and everybody's hooking up and doing whatever. They're not paying attention. They're watching Netflix. All right, cool. I get that. But when you have a high profile person, a high profile inmate that's in prison, and they're in a foreign country and they're being extradited to the United States, I don't know. How about you make sure you don't fuck up on your watch, right? He's not gonna kill himself. Nothing's gonna happen to him on my watch because I'm not about to get blamed for shit. And I believe an investigation has started to take place in Barcelona by local authorities to figure out, how he killed himself. It's funny because a paper announced that he killed himself, yet I don't even know if that's an actual confirmation or the actual confirmed method of his death, or the cause of death, excuse me. So if that's not the actual confirmed cause of death, why the fuck are we saying he killed himself? Why is the narrative already out there that he killed himself? Oh, don't worry. Of course he killed himself. He's crazy. Crazy people don't kill themselves. That's always taken out of context. Crazy people don't kill themselves. You're more likely to see a person be suicidal and slit their wrists or wherever the case may be. They're sitting there happy, smiling in your face, and everything's going good and stuff, and they're well off. Usually, when they're in dire situations like that, they don't kill themselves. I wouldn't say usually, but there's times when you hear stories, and in my own experiences being around the subject of suicide and stuff like that, and whatnot, in my own military training on how to deal with people with suicidal thoughts and whatnot and stuff like that. It's not picture perfect clear. It's not, oh yeah, he's in prison, his life is down and out, he's gonna kill himself. No. It's the people that you don't really know that are thinking those thoughts, and they're the ones that kill themselves. But this is just me going off I guess when I say observational studies, statistical data, stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, each individual is their own, and basically whether or not they're gonna kill themselves. But this is wild, bro. Let's be honest, man. Let's just be honest. There's no tip. I'm not gonna tip some YouTubers or that. Some people that report on this, they'll tiptoe around. I'm not gonna tiptoe around this shit. This shit don't make no goddamn sense, right? let's call it what it is, man. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. Kind of fucking suspicious, man. The timing of it all, like, let's be honest, man. This is why my podcast and shit will never grow. I say this often. This is why I will never grow. Cause I'm too honest. Like, let's just say what we're all thinking. The elephant in the room. No one is really buying this. Now, could he actually have killed himself? Yes. But are these details kind of odd? Of course they are. Let's be honest, man. I'd rather be proven that he did for a fact without a shadow of a doubt killed himself. But we done seen this story play out too many times. Oh, so he hung himself. He hung himself. It says a recommended story here on the side, and it says he hangs himself. Okay. Hey, what, shoelaces? Blanket? Comforter? He wrapped the pillowcase around? What, he hung himself from the bunk bed? The bars on the windowsill? Like, you know how hard it is to hang yourself? You don't snap your neck, right? You wish you snap your neck, but that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna cough your oxygen and stuff. It's gonna take a while. By then you might even decide, you know what, this is not a way I want to go. It's kind of painful. Your instincts might kick in that you want to fucking survive. Oh man. And it says McAfee was alone in moment of death. A penitentiary source. What the fuck is that? told AP that I'm bad on my vocabulary for today. That McAfee was sharing a cell in the Brian's 2 jail where he had been put in preventive detention since he was arrested in October of last year. Excuse me. October of last year on a U.S. warrant. But that at the moment of his death, he had been alone. I I had a hard time reading that because I was like, are they really? So he was sharing a cell, but he was alone when he died. Oh my god, bro! Nobody's buying this, man. Nobody's buying this. A lot of people might not admit to it, but nobody's buying this, man. Nobody's buying this. It says 7 out of 10 charges was dropped. Spain National Court on Monday ruled that McAfee should be extradited to the U.S. to face charges for evading more than $4 million in the fiscal years of 2016 and 2018. Imagine sitting someone in prison for a long time because they didn't pay taxes. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, all your billionaires don't pay no taxes, and we don't say nothing. Or we say, oh, they found illegal loopholes, or we get mad about it, but there's no prison sentence. So what they do is not tax evasion. But if you flat out just don't pay your taxes, then it's tax evasion. But if you find illegal loopholes, then you're good. Don't worry. Don't worry. If it sounds like I don't make sense, because guess what? It doesn't make sense. Because none of the shit makes sense. Nothing ever makes sense. It says the judge dropped 7 of the 10 counts in the initial indictment. Lawyer blames death on cruelty of the system. Huh. Interesting, right? I think I read somewhere else too that McAfee was saying that his lawyer is swindling him out of his money and stuff. It says although Villalba, probably saying that wrong, said that he had no evidence of any foul play, he blamed the death on the cruelty of the system for keeping a 75-year-old man behind bars for economic and not blood-related crimes after judges refused to release him on bail. So you blame the cruelty of the system. You blame the cruelty of the system. No, yeah, there's no foul play. That's your client. That's your client. And you already quick to come out and say there's no foul play before a full investigation is conducted and stuff. Oh, yeah, cruelty of the system, there's no foul play. Sounds suspicious yet again, because if you're my lawyer and I'm paying you money, you better have my fucking back. Even after death, goddammit. You better have my back. Yeah, you better like, hey, we don't know yet. You better just, play it close. Like, we don't know yet. I'm not releasing a statement. We want to make sure all the facts are out first, because guess what? That's what you're supposed to do. None of this should be considered a suicide. None of that stuff until all the investigation is done and the facts are out. Now, you might say it seems like he might have killed himself, but we don't really know for sure. I at least would give you that, because you're not trying to sound like it's such an exact factual statement without any actual investigation. Yet, it seems to be already predetermined that, you know what, doesn't matter, he killed himself in the stories. And that's what bothers me, because the quick jump to conclusions is irrational, it's illogical, and it's too dismissive of any actual thorough investigation. Let the process play out before some type of a decision is made, or some final judgment, or wherever you want, some confirmation of cause of death is made. But for them to come out and a lot of these articles already claim, oh, he killed himself, suicide. That's what bothers me, because you don't come right out and say that. Even if it's so blatant, and yes, that's what it is, you still let the facts play out and stuff, whatever. You don't make it such a confirmation a statement of confirmation on the cause of death. I mean, that's procedure. That's supposed to be procedure for media outlets, newspaper articles, newspaper printing, magazines, all this other stuff. even for local authorities and investigations, you're supposed to do investigation before you release information to the public. That way, you know what you're saying is factual and can be backed up by evidence and supported by evidence, and anybody else could come through and see that and be like, yep, you're right, exactly what happened. He killed him. He killed himself. This shit don't sit right with me, man. This shit just don't sit right with me. He said he didn't say goodbye to family. Now, McAfee's Spanish lawyer Javier Villalba said I know I'm saying that last name wrong. Said the entrepreneur's death had come as a surprise to his wife and other relatives. He was married. Adding he would seek to get, quote, to the bottom of his client's death. And then an hour later, he says there's no evidence of foul play. Because this press release I just read was at 13:29, and that was from Associated Press. And then the other ones where he says the death is on a cruel system, that was at 14:04. Oh, 1:29 p.m. East. Oh yeah, 1:29 p.m. and 2:04 p.m. Man, it's goddamn military. Actually, it's 24-hour clock should be done anyway. There's no reason for a 12-hour clock. Everything should be done on a 24-hour clock. That's just my own personal opinion. I thought I'd throw it out there. Huh. But yeah, so the charge he had with the United States of America government, the corporation, it said it had conspiracy to commit commodities and securities fraud. I mean, the SEC does it all the time, but it doesn't matter. Conspiracy to commit securities and touting fraud. Once again, SEC does it all the time. Purely corrupt, doesn't matter. Wire fraud conspiracy and substantive wire fraud. Once again, SEC more than likely probably does that. And if you think I'm lying, look into different SEC investigations. They pick and choose who they want to go after, especially when we're talking about cryptocurrencies, which is, I think, what they went after him for. Yes, money laundering, conspiracy offenses, conspiracy offenses stemming from 2 schemes relating to the fraudulent promotion to investors of cryptocurrencies qualifying under federal law as commodities or securities. So this sounds like a SEC investigation being head up under the Department of Justice and stuff, and because he's overseas, so I'm sure other agencies are involved in this. But it's interesting, right? It said he faced up to 6 years in prison, and he dies. Why? Why kill yourself? Oh, because he's facing up to 6 years in prison. Facing up to. If you're gonna kill yourself, let's set up the mindset right here. Let's try to dive into the mind of a person that's about to kill himself, who's in prison, who feels like the light at the end of the tunnel is near, and they have no more hope. There's people on death row that don't kill themselves. Because you can be on death row for like a decade, 20 years, so you can still have a whole life in prison. So there's people on death row that don't even kill themselves. And you think the people that would be more likely to kill themselves are the ones that are on death row, facing execution, yet they don't kill themselves. How many documentaries on Netflix or Hulu or wherever platform you're watching, Discovery Network, I guess Discovery Plus now, or whatever, investigates, it doesn't matter. You have all these different documentaries of people on death row. And you have all these stories of people being on death row for decades. They don't kill themselves. And they old too. Yet McAfee would kill himself because he faced another 6 years in prison, facing up to. It's not a guarantee. If anything, he'll take his chances. And then if he does get the final sentence of 50, 60, 20, 30 years, whatever, then he's like, oh, then he might kill himself. But why would you kill yourself now when you still have some light of hope? You see what I'm saying? Like, dive into the mind of a person. If this is a whole perspective and this is a narrative they're trying to put out there. If he's a person that's going to kill himself, why would he do it right now? It makes more sense to let it play out. And then if he doesn't get the final verdict and sentencing that he's okay with, then you kill yourself. He killed himself before he even had a chance. And you say, oh, well, he knew he didn't have a chance. He was going to lose all this. You don't know what's going to happen. Once again, if he had all this information of 31 terabytes, bro, 31 terabytes of data on governments and corruption and wherever else, if he has some type of leverage, wouldn't he try to, I don't know, utilize that leverage? Maybe try to get a lesser sentence. We know it happens all the time. He just seems to be running around doing, I don't want to say doing whatever, but the government just seems to be after him. I mean, it doesn't seem like he actually committed any real crimes. Like, the government just seems to be after him. His neighbor died. His dogs got poisoned, and he left. And it's like, oh well, they're trying. He's under investigation because his neighbor died and stuff. Well, his neighbor got tortured and got one gunshot to the head. He's probably sitting there thinking, "Fuck that! That's not me." They might have been trying to get to him. They might have been trying to use him to get to me. I don't know what's going on. I'm taking off running. Because, like I said, if he has his information, is he in fear of his life? Because if you can't trust the local authorities and national and federal authorities, what would you do? What would you do? You will flee like a motherfucker. You're going to take off running anywhere you can. Because if the government, those people that are supposed to seize people and lock them up and arrest them, if they're corrupt and they come after you, you're fucked. It's funny because I just watched a movie, what's it called, Money Heist, with Liam Neeson in it. And it's like, hey, he tried to turn himself in, but he's corrupt cop was trying to kill him and stuff. And he's like, well, who do I go to? I'm not trusting none of y'all. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like, if you try to go to the so-called authorities and they turn out to be sneaky, shady, and corrupt, what are you going to do? You're going to feel like you're on your own. All you're going to do is try to collect your own evidence and gather your own stuff to clear your own name, which is what happened just in the movie I watched the other day. Everything happened for a reason, because I just can't believe I use that as a reference, but it makes sense. He said he thought U.S. officials were coming for him. In 2019, he tweet, McAfee said if he was ever found dead, it wasn't suicide. Getting subtle messages from U.S. officials saying, in effect, and he's quoting them, "We're coming for you, McAfee. We're going to kill yourself." McAfee tweeted. He said, "I got a tattoo today, just in case. If I suicide myself, I didn't. I was whacked. Check my right arm." We went on. He went on. So that's in 2019. But once again, he let you know, I'm not killing myself. Now, can something change over that time? Yeah. But does it seem plausible that it would? Does it seem plausible that it would? I mean, let's be honest here. Does it seem plausible that it would? So he's like, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not about to kill myself. And they say I killed myself. They're fucking lying. Once again, Cappy did the same thing. People come out and say so. I'm not killing myself. I'm not killing myself. Then they fucking die. And people are like, oh man, they killed themselves. Suicide's a bad thing. Whoa. This person just said they weren't going to kill themselves. Now they did. There's a lot to this, man. There's a lot more to this. This is jail cell, so he does have a bunk bed. I guess he could. He looked like about at least 6 foot, 6'1". So I guess he hung himself from the cell somewhere in this jail cell. For those of you on the audio version of the podcast, there's a bunk bed. He's actually sitting. I guess you want to call it a bunk bed. It looks like it. If there's no mattress on the bottom, he's just kind of sitting there taking a picture and stuff. And then there's a mattress and like a blanket and pillow and stuff on the top bunk. Nothing too special. I mean, in prison, tile floor, the walls on the paint ain't that great. You can see the sunlight, so you got bars on the prison, the window cells. So, oh man, oh man. I got a tweet here from Gary Sheffield Jr. saying Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, just like John McAfee. Everybody calling this right away, man. It's like, oh yeah, he killed himself? Oh yeah, sure he did, bro. Whatever. Sure he did. It's just, I don't buy it, man. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. And I don't care if nobody, once again, I don't care if you call me crazy, man. It's not my, like, like what can you say when this shit keeps fucking happening? These things keep happening where people keep all of a sudden they're on the custody and stuff and they kill themselves and they're high profile inmates, and they didn't even go to trial. Well, let's get with Jeffrey Epstein. You didn't even go to trial yet. You still have hope. And when you're talking about suicide and suicidal thoughts, it's the depletion of hope is what brings you so down. It's that depletion of hope. It's that lack of love and support that you don't feel. Now, and if you have family and friends, stuff like that, you feel sorry because suicide is a selfish thing, right? You might not like to hear this, but let's call it for what it is. Suicide is a selfish thing because when you kill yourself, you go out to wherever adventure that you're going off of at life after death, and the people that are left behind are left to mourn and feel those emotions. So if he had a wife and he had close family relatives and stuff, he committed suicide. That's a selfish act, right? Right. Maybe that's the case though. My thing is, we're always so quick to not question none of this stuff. Even though our gut feeling says, that doesn't sound like he did that. I'm going to go with my gut feeling. So his lawyer said the government was trying to erase him. McAfee's lawyer, Nishay Sanan, said his client intended to fight the tax evasion charges as well as the SEC lawsuit. So one lawyer says one thing, another lawyer says another thing. Sanan repeated that late McAfee's claims that he was being targeted by the United States government. This is again the United States government trying to erase John McAfee, and that's what it's always going to be, said Sanan. Sanan said to the NPR, National Public Radio, and that was a direct quote. And the SEC was going to investigate him for pump and dump schemes. It's funny, they want to investigate him, but all the other pump and dump schemes and stuff, they just let go. I mean, 10,000 cryptocurrencies and stuff, yeah, they let a lot of this shit go by. I want to know what comes out of this. And there's a picture of his tattoo that says whack. It's a money sign, and it says whacked. So I feel like there's a lot more to this. I don't know if we'll hear any more about it, but there's a lot more to it. And one last thing before I move on to the next topic. I talked way too long about this. And so soon after that, it was announced that he was dead. On his Twitter page, or excuse me, his Instagram page, and I got my head down right now. I kind of like, I can't believe this isn't even a thing. He posted that a letter Q. I don't believe John McAfee was Q. I don't believe John McAfee was Q at all. If I think anything, Q was a Q is or supercomputer, quantum computer. I mean Q, quantum computer. I mean that's too easy, right? But it's funny because if you want to hide something, say it all the time. If you want to hide something, you do it right in plain sight. You make it so obvious that people are like, nah, that can't be it. That's too fucking obvious. Because your own mind tricks you. You're your own worst enemy. Q, quantum computer. Makes too much sense. Nah, whatever. But that's just my own opinion. I don't think he was Q, though. I don't think he was Q at all. Yeah, I don't think he was Q at all. I think if he was, he would have said that shit a long time ago. And now he might have had, I'm sure he had some information. I wouldn't put it past him that he had some information that might have been damning because, well, he committed suicide in a jail cell by himself. So last person I knew that did something like that was Jeffrey Epstein, and he seemed to have a lot of damning information on some high profile people. So seems like a certain special someone didn't necessarily end their lives. But we're gonna move on. So this is the article here from NASDAQ. It says bipartisan crypto bills pass U.S. House of Representatives. Again, it's been passed before. It's been passed before in the past. Whew, that didn't sound confusing to say. It says U.S. House of Representatives passed 2 crypto bills on Tuesday evening. Cryptocurrencies. John McAfee dies the next day as he was involved in pump and dump schemes, cryptocurrency. I mean, maybe everything is just a coincidence, right? I don't understand how anybody can come across that, because statistical probabilities of all this happening is interesting, right? But I guess it's all just a coincidence. So we say. The Consumer Safety Technology Act, sponsored by Representative Jerry McNerney, Democrat of California, directs the Consumer Product Safety Commission to establish a pilot program to explore use case for artificial intelligence in commerce. AI is already here, so don't even worry about it. And it's not even that AI that they probably put on our phones and stuff, or your Alexa or your Echoes. Or I guess that's the same thing. All this other shit. That's not a real technology. The real AI is the shit they ain't gonna tell us about. Probably in these quantum computers that they keep popping up and stuff. That's on quantum.gov. Just saying. Check the past podcast episodes where I talked about that. So the two blockchain bills, the Blockchain Innovation Act and parts of the Digital Taxonomy Act, direct the Secretary of Commerce and the Federal Trade Commission to study and report on the use of blockchain technology and digital tokens. These people ain't dragging their feet for no reason, man. They know what they're doing. These regulations are already here. They might have not made it public and passed a little law and stuff, but do the people that make the laws and regulations need to wait to make laws and regulations in public before they act? Because who's going to keep them in check? They can do whatever they want to, because we don't know what the fuck they're doing. So the rules and laws and regulations in crypto, they already done did it. They just ain't letting nobody know yet. Because they sit there and draw these bills up and they don't pass them. And then they just sit on the Senate floor or the House of Representatives floor and nothing happens. You don't think that's intentional? And you can say, oh, well, they got other stuff that's more impressing. They have a job to do. Isn't that what they get paid to do? They should be on that Senate and House of Representatives floor every fucking day. What they get paid to do? That's what they're paid there for, right? By taxpayer dollars, right? You gotta go to work every day. Now, you probably don't do as much. And nobody really works anyways. Let's be honest, man. Your schedule work 8-9 hours a day. You probably work about 3 or 4, and the rest of the time you sitting there twiddling your thumbs and got your finger up your ass doing whatever. Probably on your phone surfing the internet. I mean, that's just the quality, the production in humans. We only really work about a good couple hours a day. And even we compress them down about 4 hours, we might do something else the rest of the day, but we're not really finna exert ourselves with a lot of energy. Let's be honest about that. I was having a conversation with my friend about something like that too. I think I'm gonna break down in a podcast episode. Just really how the mental fortitude it takes to necessarily do some of these so-called jobs so that we say are beneficial to society, but probably 9% of our jobs have no effect on society whatsoever. In the sense of the empowerment and improvement and the betterment of the species. But it has the Consumer Technology Act was approved in a previous session of Congress, passed in the House in September 2020, but was never approved by the Senate and died at the close of the session. Why is that? But now they're gonna wait until cryptocurrency is taken off and central bank digital currency. It's all set up, man. It's all narrative. They release these things when they plan on releasing this because they have plans within plans within plans. That's it. Cryptocurrency's been running amok over a decade now. And now all of a sudden, oh yeah, we really should come put regulations and stuff like this. Y'all been letting this run around. You wanna know why? Because they've been making money off of it. And you think that's crazy? It's brilliant. Let's not regulate this shit. That way we can make a bunch of money, because if we're making money, you're making money. Right? The thing is though, the average person doesn't know how to make money in cryptocurrency. So guess what? They use that against you. They play you like a fool and a dummy, and they get you in these pump and dump schemes, right? And they make their money. And then once they're done with it, they bring in the regulations and bring down the hammer and be like, oh yeah, you guys shouldn't be doing this. You see it right now with the bullshit lawsuit with Ripple. They've been doing their business for 8 years. 8 years, really. I think since 2012, 2013, they've been going on and stuff, right? And now they come along and say, "Oh yeah, well, we're gonna put a lawsuit. What we think you guys did violates. We think XRP is security." Even though they've been hand and foot with regulators the whole entire time, begging for regulation, begging for clarity and crypto laws and stuff. And then they come down with a hammer and stuff. Then they say, "Oh yeah," and then everybody just takes off the exchange, say, "Oh, you can't trade it." Yet the judge has already said back in like March or April that, oh, you could, there's no reason why these are taken off exchange because no actual law has came down that is security. If the law does come down to security, what? What difference? All of a sudden it goes from being on a crypto market or a crypto exchange to being on Nasdaq or one of their stock exchanges stuff, whatever. Like, come on, man, New York Stock Exchange, like that. That's all. That's all that happens. It goes from being on Coinbase to being on Robinhood. Whoop de fucking do. They'll pay a fine and that's it. Business as usual. It's all set up, man. It's all narrative. It's all to spin up this story. And like it's there's so many examples of this because this has been done repeatedly over and over and over and over throughout history of the United States government, how shady they are, how corrupt they are. It's not beyond a stretch of imagination. And I don't care how much money these people make. They're not making millions because it's not a, you know, they can have a decent salary. You can have a salary. I've seen somebody in the comments like, oh, this person got a salary, $100-something. One of the SEC attorneys or executives or whatever, investigators, excuse me. This person making $100,000, they wouldn't take money on the side. Huh. Yeah, if they're trying to live a good life, because they're not thinking about, oh yeah, I'm good right now. They're thinking about their kids, their grandkids, paying when they want to get their kids in good school and stuff like that. They're thinking beyond, right? They're trying to figure out how do I get into this wealthy tax bracket. 100,000 a year sounds good for a majority of us, right? But at some point in time, you're like, okay, how do I get into this wealthy tax bracket, right? How do I move on to the next level? I'm working 100,000, I'm getting $100,000 a year, but I'm working all these hours, and then you being shot at, you being, you know, could be any type of situation that has to be fear for your life, your family, your kids could be put under threat and stuff like that. When you in some of these government positions and you're dealing with some of these secrets and these corruptions and criminal enterprises around the world. Now is $100,000 a year worth it? When you gotta look over your shoulder because of an investigation that you did, because you took down some people and they're kind of pissed off, because that's reality that nobody really talks about. As far as being in the military, even being law enforcement agency, police officer, especially you talk about being a government official, a highly publicized government official. Nobody talks about the death threats, right? Nobody talks about that, and you can't be in debt. When you're a government official and you're a government employee or you're a DoD employee or in the military, you can't be in debt because that makes you vulnerable. Now you're a target because if you have issues with money, that means you could be compromised. Someone could come in, some criminal entity can come in and bribe you, and there you go. And that's why they have to pay them a high salary. And that's why you're not supposed to be in debt and you're supposed to be good up on your bills and stuff like that. But once again, if you're sitting there doing all these people, just like the movie, I guess I did watch that movie for a reason. It's like the movie Money Heist. The guy was like, oh, it's like was taking, they took money. The guy decided to turn himself in. He was a bank robber for years. He had $9 million in cash set aside. He just took the money, but he never spent the money. He just did it for whatever reason, blah, blah. Not to go too much to the movie. And the guys are like, oh, well, we can get the two FBI agents. Like, everybody don't think he's crazy. We just take this money. And the one FBI agent was like, no, man, we can't do this. This is too much. It's $9 million. It's too much. It'll go notice. It was like, what? There's no different than we take 20,000 and so from this person, that person. You don't know how easy it is for 20,000 going to one of these people's pockets. You'll never know. And no paperwork is written. What you gonna take the word of a criminal? You really gonna take the word of a criminal? How do we know the Department of Justice didn't take the U.S. government didn't take John McAfee's money and stuff? Because they already labeled a criminal and he eccentric, he's crazy and stuff, and he's running around the world. You're not gonna believe it. See how you set up a story and a narrative? Go ahead and try to dispute that. You don't have no evidence. You don't have nothing. All you can kind of go is you either take their word for it, or you just sit back and say, you know what, this shit don't make no sense, and there's nothing you can do about it. So why are they sitting here waiting forever to pass these cryptocurrency laws? And none of that, oh, government just moves slow, all bureaucracy. It's intentional. It's intentional. They know what they're doing. Or at least somebody knows what they're doing, and the rest of people just fall in line. Because if I worked at SEC, if I worked in some of these, what is it, FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, all the different entities dealing with commodities and cryptocurrencies and whatever else, you don't think I'd be tempted to be like, yeah, I could easily just get this money? Nobody would know. We'll all be tempted. That's why you're supposed to have a high value character. That's why you're supposed to have integrity. But a lot of these people don't have integrity. A lot of these people, when you're talking about being in a position of so-called authority, or at least a representation of authority, and people give up that power, just like John McAfee was saying, we're lazy, we give up that power to these people to make these decisions for us, which is bullshit, we shouldn't. But when we give up that stuff, you're basically saying, oh, whatever happens, happens. I don't feel like dealing with this. So if somebody takes some money off the side or a little bit off the top, you're okay with that because you already gave up the power to pay attention to what's going on. So you're telling me some of these people don't know which cryptocurrencies are good and which are not good and stuff. You tell me they're not putting their own money into it. As they're doing their investigation, they see all these cryptocurrencies. They see these pump and dump schemes making tons and tons of millions of dollars. They're not sitting there thinking, oh, you know what? We could probably do this and get away with it because these other people are already doing it. Nobody will even suspect it. In fact, hell, we're the ones writing up the case. I'm supposed to get paid $100,000 a year. Meanwhile, these people are doing whatever, making millions of dollars, and I'm supposed to turn them in and write all this paperwork and spend all my time away from my family and kids. You see how the human brain works? So don't sit here and act like nobody is not above this corruption. Anybody and everybody is susceptible to this corruption. Because all it takes is to not file one piece of paperwork here, don't pass this legislation right now, don't vote on this, don't pay no attention, and we can all stand and make millions of dollars. And social peer pressure alone will say, oh, if 5 or 10, say 5 out of 10 people do it, guess what? Those other 5 people, they're going to go along with it because they already feel outnumbered that half of the group is already doing it. It shows you how easily we all could be corrupted. It's not that complicated. So as you have these cryptocurrency legislation bills, it's been going on for the past couple of years. And Bitcoin and Ethereum have been running rampant. Not once have they decided to pull them in and say, hey, we should pay attention to this. Why is Bitcoin worth $60-something thousand when we only know who the fuck created Bitcoin? Maybe we should say, let's figure out who created this first before we let this money go out of, run out of nowhere. Or it was all done by design and they let it happen. Which seems more plausible to you, right? Let's be honest. What seems more plausible? That they just decided to let Bitcoin run free because, like, oh yeah, we can't stop this money and stuff. Yet they stopped everybody from going outside last year. Huh. Interesting, right? See, last year put a lot of things in perspective for people. That the government really has no limit. They're not above doing too much of anything. Right? They're not above experimenting on people. We talk about Tuskegee experiment. They're not above experimenting on people with vaccines. Right? They're not above being corrupt. Fauci in his emails, John Podesta in his emails, Hillary Clinton in her emails, Benghazi, 9/11. Like, at what point do people say, hey, there's a lot of shady stuff going on in our own United States government, and these people supposed to be working for us, but they kind of seem like the ultimate villains. So it's not. So me saying these things is not a stretch of the imagination, because these people aren't stupid, and it's something I come to realize over the years. Like, I'm like, oh man, these people are idiots. They don't know what they're doing. I come to realize, you know what? They're not stupid. If they are stupid, they're pretending to be stupid. They're pretending to be like. Every time you see one of those Senate meetings or those not meetings, those committees, and they're sitting there talking and stuff, and they're speaking to whoever, and the people are like, I don't recall, and they'll be like, you really don't remember? And they're like, no, I don't remember. It's not my job, or I have nothing to do with that. That goes to so and so or something like that. They always got some lame ass excuse, right? Like a child, right? These people ain't even good liars. They basically just say wherever lie. And that's it. Because when you're a liar, you don't have to have a good lie. All you have to do is deny. Because when you're speaking to someone with integrity or someone with honesty, you're speaking to a rational, logical person, and you deal with someone that's irrational. Because when you're talking about lying is irrational, it's illogical. You're playing on emotions in order to pass this lie off. So as long as you keep denying, and the person that you're lying to doesn't have the evidence to prove, otherwise, it's kind of a stalemate, right? You're just kind of stuck. So it says by reintroducing the bill and passing it on to the Senate again, McCurney and his co-sponsors, including longtime blockchain advocate Representative Darren Soto, Democrat of Florida, are giving the bill a second chance. Why now? So you can say, oh, yeah, we got more Democrats in the Senate now. And that's why the Democrats control the Senate. So it makes it feel like, oh yeah, the Democrats care about it. That might be a narrative they'll spin for political pundits, but there's more to it, man. So this is happening. John McAfee, cryptocurrency, he killed himself supposedly in a jail cell. The Bank of International Settlements says gives the go ahead for all central banks to go ahead and release their central bank digital currencies. Or start creating them, which they probably already did. They've already been testing and stuff. But they already give the full go ahead. The crypto market crashes. The Fed is talking about, oh yeah, inflation is only temporary. We don't expect it to be here next year. We expect inflation to be at 2% next year. They're either lying and downplaying the situation and it's going to be way worse, or they're lying about inflation being transitionary because inflation is only transitionary because they got, I don't know, the solution already on hand. So when the shit hits the fan, they ain't worried about it because they already got a solution. They already got a solution because they want to create a crisis anyways. See how it's easy to stay in control and manipulate events around the world? It's that easy to stay 10, 20, 1,000 steps ahead of the common average person. I want to break down. I don't know if I'm gonna do it tomorrow or not. I think I talked about it before, but I don't know if I actually really broke it down. Chaos theory. How a bunch of seemingly random events seem as they're not connected, but they are connected and they have a bigger picture. Because this all seems a little kind of wild, right? A little kind of wild because 3 different stories all connected to cryptocurrency. You see, I keep talking about crypto yet. It's because there's something going on that they're really not talking about. It goes on to talk about the blockchain bills, the blah blah. And so the token taxonomy act was first introduced in 2018. And all their attempts before to get it done didn't happen. So my thing is, if all this been going on, cryptocurrency has been around. Bitcoin had already reached 20,000, 30,000, stuff like that. All these things been going on. People have already been making money. Ethereum was jumping up in price over $1,000. I mean, the crypto market was already at billions of dollars anyways. Is now want to wait to try to pass regulation. Is now want to wait to file a Ripple with a lawsuit saying that they've been doing unlicensed or unregistered sale of securities under XRP. You really think any of this actually makes sense? It's all a story, man. It's all narrative. The media is not going to tell you that because the media is bought and paid for, and they're designed to tell you this story and narrative. They're designed to give you a storytelling session. Hey guys, let's talk about what we're going to do today. I mean, we're not actually going to do this, but it's a good story to make you feel better. All this shit is shady, man. I'm just going to call it what it is. It's all shady. It's all shady, and it really is. The news articles and stuff are there. It also feels like it, and we know these kind of celebrity deaths happen in threes, right? So if this is the first one, we got 2 more to go, right? If you ever pay attention, these celebrity deaths always happen in threes. Pay attention to it. So if this is the first one, we got 2 more to go, or this might be the second one. We're gonna miss. I might have missed somebody. As far as I know, this is the biggest one. And this is the only one I heard about so far. But this is This is interesting. Interesting doesn't even sum this shit up, man. This is some bullshit. This is really wild. What's going on? We're gonna continue to pay close attention to it and continue to kind of report on this stuff. And I'm just gonna give you my honest opinion on it. Obviously, that's what you listen to me anyways for. I'm giving you an honest opinion. I'm shooting it straight. I'm just telling you how it is. I'm just telling you how it is. Because I know as you read these articles, shit doesn't make sense either. If you're sitting there reading about cryptocurrency regulation, you're like, wait a minute. You guys have already been trying to pass stuff and you didn't? What took you so long? And there is the number one question right there. Why are they waiting so long? There's no excuse to wait this long. Yet they decided to wait this long. Crypto is now like a 1 point something trillion market. 10,000 something cryptocurrencies. Why is the United States government waiting this long? And especially the United States government is one of the head economies around the world. So everybody using the US dollar as reserve currency kind of makes sense, right? For the United States to kind of be at the forefront of these things. But why are they not? And that's the real question you have to answer. But when you think about it, it's the most simplest answer ever. And the most obvious one. Money. Like I say, nothing makes sense until you look at it from the perspective of money. Why haven't they passed any regulations? Well, because someone or people within the United States government are too busy making money. And then once they get all the infrastructures online and everything's ready to go, they'll bring the crackdown with regulations and stuff. And next thing you know, they'll make more money. Because they already knew which cryptos weren't going to last. They said 99% of cryptocurrencies are going to go away because they already know exactly which one's going to go away. They already got a list. They already been planning on it. But in the meantime, they're going to make some money. And then, is that a wild speculation from my end to even say that? Nah. It's your job. It's your job. Not as your job. It's your right. And not as a citizen of the United States of America, but that's just being a human being in this modern monetary system world. You're sitting there watching people make millions and billions of dollars for seemingly no real reason half the time. And you're watching a lot of criminal enterprises making money on the dark web. You're watching a lot of people making money, but you're told to be an honest, good person to wake your ass up and go to work every day for somebody else. Yet you get paid the lowest. You go out to military, you fight for your country, you come back with all types of diseases and disorders, disabilities, you lose an arm or a leg, and you fight teeth and nail to get a few $1,000s a month and stuff from the VA for disability. Meanwhile, you can't take care of yourself, you can barely take care of your family, your dependents, your spouse. Right? You work 30-some years at a company, next thing you know, you find out your pension is gone because they done gambled it in the 401k and they lost all your money. And you've been a part of the union and your union leaders have taken your money. And you're around the world in these other countries and you're working in these factories. So you're putting together these Nike shoes, you're putting together these Apple electronic products and stuff. And you're the employee, you got your hands on, you're doing all this stuff. You can't make a decent living wage. Meanwhile, all these people around you that put a ball in the basket, you're on the microphone and scene, stand on a podium and spew out some bullshit and call themselves an intelligent politician. You got so-called Fauci acting like he's the world's greatest scientist, and he knows he's not, and they're making tons of money. But you, the honest person, doing what you're so-called supposed to do, being the upstanding citizen in society, you get treated like shit. You don't get paid nothing, and you're told to go to college and have student loans and stuff like that, go into debt before you even get a job. Imagine that, right? They tell you to go to college, go to a university, get a great degree, and get you $100,000 a year salary, but yet that $100,000 a year salary degree job that you got, or job that you got based on your degree, you had to take out thousands of dollars in student loans. It's almost like they trapped you from the beginning. They played you into a game. And I'm not saying, all I'm trying to point out is the obvious that, hey, something's kind of suspicious about all this, right? Like none of this really makes sense. And it's the obvious. But it's because people are making money off of all this. And they're making way more money than us honest people who have integrity, who are feeling like we're trying to do the right thing. right? You watch your parents, your grandparents work their ass off their whole lives and stuff and don't reach $1 million until they're 65, 70. And, now they got all these health issues and these disabilities, Alzheimer's, heart disease. They can barely move around. They can't even spend their own money. Now they got to spend it because they don't spend it before they die. It'll get taken off in taxes or estate claims, wherever else the case may be. It's a setup, bro. It's a setup, man. From the cradle to the grave, it's a setup. Oh man, but I'm gonna do what I do because I'm a little insane. I'm not insane. I'm a little fucked up in my head mentally, so I'm gonna call bullshit out because I'm a little off. Something wrong with me. We already know that. No big deal. And I'm gonna go with my gut instinct. Some of this, if not all of this, doesn't make sense. So I'm gonna continue to be here to call this shit out. Fuck the money. I don't get paid nothing. Fuck it. I'm calling this shit out because somebody's gotta say it, man. Somebody's gotta be honest about all this. Somebody. And you know what? I'm saying this anyways. Whether I'm in the house by myself and I'm saying it to myself, I'm talking to my cat, I'm talking to my kids, I'm talking to whoever, I'm gonna say these things regardless. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well voice my opinion out to the rest of the world because I know I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one who doesn't see this shit, right? We all gotta use our brains, man. Lift the veil over your eyes and see the obvious. It's shady. This is really some shady shit. We're not even talking about no Slim Shady. This is even more than that. This is fat, thick, shady shit, right? None of this stuff makes sense, man. And you can feel it. The sentiment is starting to come on around the world like, wait a minute. We need to change all of this. And you know what? I was thinking the other night, even the case with money, I always feel like money is the root of all evil, but no, it has nothing to do with money. It's us. It's us human beings. We can make this monetary system work and be beneficial for everybody. And people can still make more money than others because some people will want to make more money than others, and that's okay. That's okay. Because we all don't want to have the same lives. But at the same time, it shouldn't feel like we're being lied to. We think we're doing an honest thing by getting a job, getting a good degree and stuff, having a good skill set. We're a plumber, HVAC unit, where we're a psychologist, something, whatever the case may be. We should be able to do whatever we're doing and benefit society and make a decent living. And I'm not even talking about no universal basic income. What I'm talking about is we actually pay attention to financial infrastructure. And that's what it seems like we're going. Now, we're either going to be completely controlled by our monetary system, or the monetary system will finally do what it really should do, because what we really should be as a species is help us improve our quality of life, and we all have kind of a, God damn it, I don't want to say it, but I can't think of any other phrase, a level playing field. Predictive programming, level playing field. I'm into it with that, man. Y'all know what to do. Check out the blog site, DAMIN, DamienJackson22.com. It's funny, I knew I used to have a different outro. I can't fucking remember what that outro was. I can't remember. But whatever, man. So until next time.